Welcome to Crescat's Market Call, featuring our macro and activist mining research. I'm Kevin Smith, Crescat's founder and chief investment officer. Before we get started, please read through our important disclosures being shown now. These and additional disclosures regarding the risks involved in the type of investments we will be discussing, as well as the fund's performance, can be found on Crescat's YouTube channel or on our website using the QR codes on the slides. The type of investments discussed on these videos can carry significant risks, including risk of loss. The videos are intended to be general discussions of macro investment themes, the mining industry, and news with respect to the companies in our activist metals portfolio, and are not intended to be investment advice or an offer of investment advice or services. Crescat's managed funds only accept accredited investors, and the discussion in these videos has been prepared with that level of audience sophistication in mind. Any forward-looking statements may or may not come to fruition. If you enjoy our videos, please click on the like button and make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube channel to get notified of upcoming episodes. You can also follow Crescat Capital on X for ongoing macro research and important news updates on our activist metals positions. If you want to learn more about Crescat's investment strategies, we encourage you to reach out to our head of investor relations, Merrick Iwahashi. His contact information is on the screen now and can also be found on our website at crescat.net. Thanks for joining us for a special edition of Crescat's Market Call. Last week, Quentin, Tavi, and I participated in the Precious Metals Summit in Beaver Creek, Colorado. This investment conference is a real treat because it's right here in our own backyard, and it's the world's premier investment conference for explorers, developers, and emerging producers of gold, silver, and other critical metals. It's a venue where the management of these companies can interface directly with the world's leading fund managers who are allocating money to the sector. Tavi and I had the pleasure of sitting down with and interviewing the CEOs of many of our portfolio companies in our funds that were in attendance. We captured these interviews on video. They average about 6 minutes each in length, so sit back and relax. Watch, listen, and learn as you get up to speed on many of our favorite investment stories in the mining industry. I'm Kevin Smith with Crescat Capital. I'm here at the Beaver Creek Precious Metals Summit. I'm here with Goliath Resources today. I've got Roger Rasmus, the CEO, and we've got Randall, who's their lead geo in the field this year. I'll just let these guys talk. Why don't we start with Roger, who can introduce the story.
Thanks, Kevin. Thanks for having us. Yeah, we obviously Crescat's been a major supporter of the company since 2020 when you made your initial investment. And with the guidance and so on from the team, Quentin, Tavi, yourself, been fantastic. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And with that, we've been able to advance the company now. I think when you folks came in initially, it was about maybe a $30 million company market cap. Today, we're approaching a $500 million Canadian market cap, which is fantastic.
Nice.
True testament to the quality of the asset that we've been drilling out. We're just in the midst of finishing up a 60,000 meter drill program at our Gold Digger property, the Sherbet Discovery, which is the largest drill program of its kind in Canada and possibly North America. Right now, we're hoping to drill out probably about 115 holes, and to date, as of Beaver Creek Summit here, we've initiated or announced 14 holes so far, so we have about another 100 holes to come in the pipeline, so we have this massive news.
There's quite an assay news flow still coming.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct. And then Randall here, we actually sponsor him from the Colorado School of Mines for his PhD. His whole sole purpose is to find out everything about this highly enriched gold system that we've uncovered. Grassroots discovery, never been drilled before. Glaciers, permanent snowpack have receded, hence have exposed this mineralization at surface that we've been very lucky to have found, which again, all of our holes, 100% hit rate, 90% of the holes this year drilled visible gold, seen with the naked eye. And with that, Randall maybe can talk about some of the his thesis and some of the work that he's done for us.
I know Randall is really excited about what you guys are seeing, and can you give us just a little bit more of the geology in layman's terms so that people can understand what's going on?
Sure, I'd be more than happy to. So yeah, I've had the pleasure of doing research with Goliath Resources, Colorado School of Mines, for the last 3 years, and now I'm a PhD student, so I'll be doing it for many more years to come. Plainly put, Goliath, its property represents a Eocene intrusion-related system, the first of its kind in the Golden Triangle. It's the best established Eocene gold system in the Golden Triangle. And what I'm most excited for is the actual gold-bearing rocks. So what I'm holding right here is a hole 260, which was drilled last year. This hole's pretty important because it's ranked by the Northern Miner this year the 15th best intercept of gold on Earth. So this is grading over an ounce per ton gold equivalent over 39 meters. That's 127 feet. So that's quite the monstrous intercept. So I've had the pleasure of actually looking at this rock petrographically, so that's with thin sections, looking at it really close to understand why is it so high grade. And what we find is that this part of the system is what I like to call the Goldilocks zone, where these intrusion-related systems, there's hot stages of gold and there's cold stages of gold, but this is sitting somewhere where it's just right. It's right in the middle where you have that early hot gold and then a late cooler gold overprinting it. So we can see that in my thin sections from our research, and that's most likely what's accounting for the especially high grade found here.
Nice. Well, we, like Roger was alluding to, we've certainly been happy investors in Goliath. We got in several years ago at the ground floor, and Quentin, who's the geologist for Crescat, is the one who designed that very first drill hole. It's just been a lot of great results ever since, and we're very happy with the story. But I think some of the best is still to come.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, the system still remains open laterally and at depth. With the drilling we're doing this year, 80% of it infill, 20% expansion, with a core focus of, obviously with Quentin's recommendation, is to kind of find an area of highest grade, in our Bonanza lode. We've got about a 300 by 300 meter area where we're going to be drilling or have pierce points 25 to 50 meters in that zone, where we're trying to possibly demonstrate that back of the envelope there could be 750,000 ounces, 1 million ounces, 1.5 million. We don't know until obviously we have the assays to back. And again, just back of the envelope, and so people could do their own calculation and with a much higher confidence, as with the closer pierce points, that the continuity is there.
For that initial pod of gold where you would focus building the mine on.
Correct. So the idea, the idea with 1 million ounces would be that would pay for the capex for, let's say, a senior miner to come in and take this to production. They would know they can just go and drift right in and have that waiting for them within like Bonanza, essentially daylight's within about 75 meters. So it's not like you're going to be having to remove an entire mountain to get to it. It's basically almost literally outcropping at surface.
Nice. That'll be an easy place to start mining for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah. So but that's just the beginning, right? Because back of the envelope, I think we're calculating something like 5 to 10 million ounces here, right?
Well, yeah, 5 to 10. I've seen 4 to 8. There's some analysts out there. Just in the one meeting with them, there's their thought just in the sherbet zone. Again, this is up in the sedimentary unit, potentially to have like 3 million ounces. But ultimately, internally, our gut sense is at the end of the day, the whole average, even though we have 39 meters of an ounce, 100 and some odd 27 feet, which is pretty amazing. Overall, 6 to 8 meters, we believe, at kind of 6 to 8 grams gold equivalent. Where at I'm talking on average of the entire system.
Sure.
And again, that's what we know about today. We also have these dikes now that have mineralization that wasn't supposed to be there. So that's going to be a nice cherry on top of our sundae.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Cherry down beneath the sundae, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. I encourage you to go check out Goliath Resources. Their symbol is GOT on the Toronto Venture. I think you guys are going to potentially be listing in the U.S. here pretty soon, too.
It's a possibility. We do have the GOT ticker reserved. That does happen. So, we're prepared for that. We do meet the criteria for everything other than, we need to trade at $2 US, at least for a minimum of 2 weeks. As of, I guess, 2 days ago, we had 52-week high, $3.02 Canadian. I think it was 205 US-ish. Yesterday we closed at 214 US as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, Roger and Randall with Goliath Resources, go check them out.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Sure.
Hey, this is Kevin Smith. I'm with Crescat Capital, and I'm here at the Beaver Creek Precious Metals Summit with Mike Spreadborough. He's the co-chairman, executive co-chairman of Novo Resources. Quentin Henney, who works with Crescat, is a director as well. But, Mike, tell us about your strategy.
Yeah, Kevin, great to catch up again. So for those that don't know too much about Novo, we're a little bit interesting. We're TSX and ASX, dual listed. About 2/3 of our shares trade on the TSX main board. We've got an OTC platform, of course, and about 1/3 on the Australian Stock Exchange. We're Australian based. We have over 10,000 square kilometres of exploration ground in Australia, spread across Australia from east to west. We really are a greenfields project generator. So we're out there looking for that next discovery. We're looking for that project that we can grow to a resource, because we see that's the opportunity for 10 or 20 bagger, right? So, this is high risk, high reward. We've got a brilliant exploration team, globally experienced, and you'll see us go to a project, do a bit of work and toss it and get rid of it. But we'll get rid of it because we don't see it as valuable, and we'll go looking for another one. So that's kind of strategy one. Strategy two to us is, with Kevin's help and others, we've got a great balance sheet. So we're out there looking for new projects, gold and copper, Australia or Canada, projects that we can put our capabilities technically and exploration wise to take those projects to a decision to mine. So, we're out looking for those projects right now, and as we all know, gold's going well. So there are some sleeper projects that haven't really got off the ground over the last, 5 to 10 years, and we're looking for those. We do like copper, but they're a bit harder to find. There's not many copper projects around, Kevin. Mm-hmm. So we're very busy looking at that, which is part of the reason I've been in Canada, and I'm here with you in Precious Metals.
Okay, great. Well, you guys have a lot going on, but I want to hear about what's going on in New South Wales.
Yeah, so in December we picked up 2 new projects as part of that project generation, project discovery thing. So one is in the very, very eastern side of New South Wales, near the coast. It's called John Bull. Previous owners drilled 17 holes, got grades of over a gram, which is really good because it's near surface stuff, so open pittable. We've come on board, used our exploration potential to really grow a 1.4 kilometre soil anomaly. We'll now do a drilling program in December and follow up. So this is a lovely project that we can come in and use our expertise, and hopefully we can grow it into something, but we'll give it a good go. And then the other one is on the other side of New South Wales, really out in the outback. There's kangaroos and goats, but we've got 22 kilometre of mineralisation system. Previous people have got some really good results. We've done a first phase drilling program. We've now done some more field work. So at Tibooburra, you'll see us go drilling again in October. Again, early stages. Can we build this up to something that's worth value? So it's really kind of part of what we love to do.
Okay. And you have another exploration project in Australia too that you drilled last year, right?
Yeah.
What's that called again?
Belltopper.
Belltopper, yeah.
Yeah, so Belltopper's in Victoria. For people who really don't know too much about Victoria, there's probably 2 things you can handle on. One is the big Fosterville gold mine owned by Nico. They're up the road, 60 kilometres. And a little bit further away, 30 kilometres, is the Costerfield mine, which is part of Mandalay and now joins with Alcan. So you might be familiar with those. So Belltopper is high grade, narrow. We did drilling programs in 2024. We put together an exploration target. Run 7 to 9 grams. Exploration target's 300 to 600,000 ounces. So an exploration target's not a resource, just gives us an indication of what we think is the early start of the system, giving the small amount of work that we do. Next stage, a bigger drilling program that we're kind of thinking about for 2026. We still like Belltopper. Victoria, high grade. We won't need to build a processing plant, or anyone will need to, because there's about 4 processing plants. So we like Victorian gold. Yeah.
Okay, and you guys are shareholders in San Cristobal Mining too, which helps give you quite a strong balance sheet, doesn't it?
It really gives us a strength that we can use that balance sheet to do our normal day-to-day life and fund our business going forwards, which is great.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. All right, Novo Resources, dual listed. Go check them out. Thanks, Mike.
Pleasure.
All right.
Hi everyone, this is Tavi Kosa with Crescat Capital, and we're here at the Precious Metals Summit in Beaver Creek. I have with me Rana, the CEO of Blue Lagoon. How you doing?
Fantastic.
Doing well?
Couldn't be
Yeah.
better.
So I think for your most of our audience knows your story of Blue Lagoon and how everything got working, but I think it would be good to know where you were a year ago, because a lot of, I would say, there's some stories of exploration companies that try to get into production. It's such a messy story, and yours is actually a story of success. And so I want you to tell where you were a year ago and where you are now, so the audience is aware of your plans.
Well, a year ago, I was still talking about that we're almost there, we're about to get the permit, and I got so tired of saying that because, every time we reached a milestone, the government would throw something else at us or some new agreement that we had to deal with. But I'm glad to say that just a handful of months ago in February, we finally achieved what everybody told me was going to be impossible, which is to get it permitted in British Columbia. It takes about 20 years, and we were able to accomplish that in about 4.5 years. So it's been a very interesting and painful ride. I had much more here before I started, much like yours, but now I lost more. So hopefully that's the end of that. But yeah, we're fully permitted, Tavi. We're fully capitalized. We don't have to spend any more money. And the best, most exciting part of it is that we are within the next 6 to 7 weeks, we are about to start mining and shipping our mineralized material, our ore, to the mill.
So let's talk about that. Maybe explain a little bit, and these things can change, of course, and you guys are going to go through the process of starting to produce. And so explain to the audience what would be the profile of your production, and maybe a little bit about your relationship with Nikola Mining as well.
Sure. Look, we're going to start off modest, 100 tons a day, just to get a nice, safe, clean operation started, and then we'll ramp up, from there. So our first year, we expect to do 15,000 ounces. That's what our mine plan dictates, and then we'll move from there next year to 20,000 ounces. Now, if you do the math at these gold prices, I've done our case at 2,600. I couldn't even imagine when I bought this project, gold was at 1,350. And I thought, wow, I think we're going to get to 2,000, 2,100, and we're going to do fantastic. So at 33, 34, 3,600, it's incredible. But we've done our profile at 2,600, and the cash flow is looking incredible. That's going to give us the basis, right, the foundation to build a great company. I might remind you and your audience, I'm not a geologist or a mining engineer, right? I'm from the outside the industry. So I've studied the industry. I met Peter Monk before he died. I had to meet the greats of any business that I got involved with. And what I learned from them is that, hey, every great company started with one mine. Like Nico started in 1957 with one mine, today they have 11. So we're starting with a nice, small, very, very profitable business and environment that is going to set the foundation to where we're going next. And you asked about our relationship with Nikola. It's exceptional. I've got a great relationship with Peter Respig, one of the best human beings I've ever met in my life. He's a fantastic individual. Nikola is a very unique company, right? So we're sending our ore there because they're not going to commingle with everybody. It's a nice small operation, and that's where we're getting such high recoveries, 95% recovery when we did with the last test. Nikola is also invested in us, right? They came and looked at our project and loved it so much they put $1 million into the company. Now they own about 6%. And Peter himself and his wife have invested personally 3 times in our placement, 6 figures. Yeah. So that should tell you a lot, right? So we're very close. We have a great relationship, and I think those are some of the key things that are going to make this operation extremely successful.
Perfect. So now to kind of summarize 2 things, I guess, not summarize, but I wanted to share. Now you're going to start, hopefully starting to generate free cash flow. How are you going to deploy that? Because there's clearly an embedded exploration story that is probably even larger than the producing story that everyone is focused on right now. So tell us about that. And nobody can see on the camera from here, but you have some of the best technical teams you can find. So explain that as well to the audience.
So look, that's my wheelhouse, right? My ability to get people around me who are way smarter than me, right? I want to be the dumbest guy in the room, and I think I've succeeded in that. I've got some exceptional people around me who are going to help me, build this. Where we're going with this thing here from an exploration standpoint, that really is the story. The production story really is the smallest part. But I'm living every junior mining CEO's dream, right? Everybody wants to get free cash flow to fund their exploration. Well, we're about to do it, right? So it's a rare exception. The story really is exploration. We have 22,000 hectares. It's one of the largest land packages in the province. And we have an 18-kilometer strike length. I won't name who, but we met a major a couple of days ago who requested a meeting with us. And I was intrigued. And I asked them, why are you meeting with us? And they said, look, we know this area. We're one of the largest producers. We know these alkali systems. You have an 18-kilometer strike length. You've only drilled 200 meters, right? So that told me a lot of what's happening, and I hope that answers your question, because we have a tremendous amount of upside in exploration that others are watching, and we're going to be able to take our free cash flow and put it into those exploration programs without dilution.
You heard it first, a real producing company and exploration company in the making. I think this is going to be a very exciting story. Blue Lagoon, Reina, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thanks everyone. We'll be back with other videos. Thank you.
Okay, this is Kevin Smith. I'm here at the Precious Metals Summit in Beaver Creek, and I'm here with Alan Sabet. He's the CEO of Mogotes Metals, is it?
Metals.
Metals. And they have a project in Argentina and Chile that is right due south of Filo del Sol, which is a joint venture between BHP and the Lundin family, a 50-50 JV. It's one of the biggest, most exciting copper gold porphyries on the planet today, and these guys have the ground right to the south of it.
Yeah.
Alan, just tell us a little bit about the project.
Love to. Thank you for having me on. The project you mentioned, Filo del Sol, one of the most exciting. The resource just came out by Lundin Mining about 4 months ago, and they actually quantified it as the biggest discovery of the last 30 years. So all the majors, all the juniors, all that money that was spent, the best thing in the world is next to us. So we're happy that we spent the last 3 years accumulating the land package, with the support of Crescat Capital. We put together the land package, and we spent about $20 million in the ground now over 3 years of work, defining multiple targets that we feel are worthy of drilling, and hopefully we can make a big discovery like our neighbors at Filo have. And even just one or two Ks past Filo, there's another big discovery called Lunahuasi, which is also worth multi-billion dollars. It's $4.5 billion valuation today.
Wow.
So it's a really well-endowed district, and we've got a great part of it that we're excited to be exploring.
Mm-hmm.
We're funded now. We've got about 25 million Canadian dollars in the bank, and we're heading out to go drill in October, November.
Drilling's going to start pretty soon, huh?
Yes.
You have some really nice targets, some big geophysical anomalies, and you spend a lot of time really doing the field work to get ready to drill, which is important.
That's right. We tried to take the approach of building a portfolio of targets and taking a step back and working really systematically and advancing them step by step, surface sampling, mapping, geophysics. And all of these layers have come together to form targets that we're going to drill test. A number of them will be drill tested this season.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's exciting. And your project is called Filo Sur, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And what does that mean?
Filo Sur just means Filo South. And it's important because the Andean belt runs north to south.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like south is meaningless. It means something.
Mm-hmm.
Lunahuasi in the north, $4.5 billion market cap. A few kilometers south of that is Filo del Sol. That was bought for $4.5 billion. And then 1 kilometer from the resource boundary of Filo, that's where we start. Boom, Filo Sur.
Mm-hmm.
So we're in a really good place to be looking for copper.
Mm-hmm. And your target that you're likely to start drilling is the mineralization. The target starts about just 400 meters below surface.
It's good that you asked. We have a variety of targets. In the south, where we're probably going to start, where the lower altitude targets are, is actually a gravel cover, and maybe 150 meters below surface is where that target begins.
Mm-hmm.
But we have a portfolio of targets. Some of them, the target begins at 400 or 500 meters, some of them 300. So there's a variety of target depths.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're designing the final drill program next week in Argentina. I'll be heading there after this. And we'll announce to the market kind of when we're starting and high-level kind of abstract points on what we're doing.
Mm-hmm. And So Crescat is a significant shareholder. Can you talk about some of the other investors on your roster?
Sure. We've got a really prominent business family in Argentina that participated by their family office. They're called the Braun family, so we're really happy to have them on board. They're one of the better known business groups in Argentina. They've been in Argentina for multiple generations, and they put in $9 million through their family office in just 4 months ago. Took a substantial stake in the company. We're also backed by a number of institutional funds that are specialized in metals or in exploration. Crescat Capital is one of them that's been supported, as well as Conwave out of Europe, for what they call the Lowell Fund out of Melbourne, and 4 or 5 others in that category, some from South America, some from Europe, and some from North America.
Now you and your brother have a pretty significant stake in this one as well, right?
Yeah, I would say about 11 to 12%. We founded the company and built it from zero with the support of all these investors over the last 3 years. So we're about 11 to 12%, I believe, today. Yeah.
Nice. Well, I can tell you that this is one of our geologist Quentin Henney's favorite targets out there, and he said you guys got to put some money into this one, and it's just so exciting that you guys are getting ready to drill now after all this work. I think it's gonna, cross your fingers, but I think it's gonna pay off because they've done so much preparation to get ready to drill. So I'm really excited about it. Mogotes Metals. Go check it out. It's on the Toronto Venture Exchange.
Yep.
The symbol is?
Code is MOG. We're also
MOG.
OTCQB MOGMF.
Okay.
I say that because a lot of your followers are US based, and they email me all the time asking for the OTC ticker.
Yeah. All right. All right. Thanks, Alan.
Thanks.
All right.
Kevin.
Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, everyone, this is Tavi Costa with Crescat Capital. We are here at the Precious Metals Summit in Beaver Creek. Another interview with Dan Stewart, CEO of Juggernaut Exploration. Thanks for coming to see us as well. You're sitting with a nice grab sample here. Would you like to just give us an overview of what you guys have as a company, but also what you guys are seeing in your property?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me, Tavi. I really appreciate it. Sample here that's running 39 grams per ton gold from the Whopper zone. Juggernaut Exploration has made a significant discovery on our Big One project, which is adjacent to Galore Creek in northwestern British Columbia. We're finding over 500 polymetallic veins at surface, striking up to 15 kilometers in length with a kilometer of vertical relief to those veins, and we're seeing grades up to 8.25 ounces per ton gold. So we're pretty excited. Yeah.
You look excited. All right, so there's a little bit of maybe a way to relate your story with another company we have in our portfolio, Goliath. We're large investors of Goliath. I want you to speak a little bit about the potential comparisons from a geological standpoint on what you guys are seeing and what we could potentially be. I mean, this is an early stage story. We always get excited about acquiring companies, a stake on companies that are in this kind of stage. Using that as an analogy, what do you see as a potential here for us investors?
Yeah. Okay. Well, Goliath Resources was a grassroots discovery on a project that was originally staked in 2016. That resulted in the discovery of the Sherbet zone, in a vein that was at surface for roughly a kilometer in length. At our Big One property, we're finding over 500 veins at surface. We're very fortunate because it's kind of like Goliath 2.0, I guess you would say. It's the same technical team, the same project generators, the same geologists that made that discovery at Goliath, that discovered it at surface, then in turn drilled it and have advanced it. Are the same people that are behind Juggernaut Exploration. They're the same ones that have done that same model with what we see at Juggernaut. So
who is the geologist behind it?
There's several.
Several.
But I would like to give a special shout out to Manuele Lazzarato, and there's many others too as well. Ross Ashton, and the list goes on and on.
Yep.
Too many to mention. So it's really been the technical team, their abilities in the field to go out and execute, make these discoveries. We're really blessed to have them. It's really them. It's the field team. It's not me.
Yeah.
So.
It is him as well. But execution of a team is not easy in this stage of a company, and so finding a good asset and developing over time is a big endeavor. Anyways, let's step back a little bit. This is something that hasn't been drilled before. We don't have any historical drilling. We're using samples at the beginning, and from one side may sound very early. On the other side may sound extremely exciting because we don't know what is underneath. And so, tell us a little bit about your plans. What's the 2026 plan that you have, and when are you going to start drilling? How much you plan on drilling, and all that?
Yeah, well, it's a surface expression. Everything we're finding is at surface. So the targets are easy, similar to Goliath's drill window, so you can get in there early June and call it middle of September to get out. So you've got that seasonality just like we have with Goliath Resources. We're very familiar at that. We can operate at that cost effectively. We're going to go in and do somewhere between 8,000 to 10,000 meters of drilling. You can literally see these veins. They're in your face. So you just kind of build up drill pad, and that's your target right there. You're drilling into 39 or 36 ounces per ton gold.
That's amazing. Another thing that is also a discussion is, especially from a dilution standpoint, you guys are cashed up, is that correct? For how long can you?
The company is fully funded until Q2 of 2027. We're funded for drilling and working capital. We're in an excellent spot, so yeah.
Last question I have for you. Tell us, I think that's important as well, because you have some exploration stories where the land package ownership is a little bit tricky. What is your situation with the land package of Juggernaut?
Well, we've got 36,000 hectares. We've spent a total of roughly 40 days on the property, and we found over 500 veins in 40 days. So there's more exploration to be done. We own the project 100% outright. It's under option. Yeah, so we're good to go.
All right.
Yeah, well, simple story.
Dan, thank you very much for being here with us. This is Tavi Kosa with Crescat Capital again, and we'll be back with more videos. Thank you very much.
This is Kevin Smith. I'm with Crescat Capital, and I'm here at the Beaver Creek Precious Metals Summit. I'm here with Tim Livesey with Alpha Exploration, and this is a company that Crescat has been invested in for a few years now. They have some incredible drill intercepts at basically 3 discoveries on their property, which is in Eritrea, in Africa. It's in the Nubian Gold Shield, is that right? And it's quite a prolific gold belt where a discovery, like just one of like the 3 discoveries that they have are the types of things that can sell for $1 billion. And what's your market cap now?
About 65.
65 million Canadian market cap company.
Yeah.
And Tim, Tim is the non-executive director and interim CEO. Been some changes due to health issues with the former CEO, and Tim has stepped in, but he has an incredible experience. He's former Barrick. And anyway, Tim, tell us a little bit about the story.
Sure, thanks very much. So Alpha is an Eritrean-focused program. We have a single license, the Kingfisher license. And on that license, we've been fortunate to make discoveries of our own, that we've got multiple deposit styles. We have orogenic gold at Aberna and Kasolda. We have a porphyry system at Anagulu, discovered by the Alpha team a few years ago. And we also have a VMS up at Tolagimja. The Aberna target has been drilled, and we are currently drilling right now on that. We've got about 30,000 meters into that. It's a 7 kilometer by 2 kilometer footprint of anomalous gold in a typical greenstone gold setting. The Anagulu target, which is a porphyry, gold-rich porphyry system, just 7 kilometers away from Aberna. Again, this was a discovery by the Alpha team. The discovery hole, 108 meters at 1.24 gold, 0.6 copper. So some quite interesting grades coming out of that. It's a large footprint. Soils normally over 2.5 kilometers long, and this is targeted for some drilling in this year's program as well. We'd like to understand a little bit more about the setting of it. It's quite an old porphyry, but highly fertile, and certainly has a lot of excitement for us in extending what we've already drilled there. And then up in the northeast of the license, we've got Tolagimja. And Tolagimja is a VMS system. which again was discovered by the Alpha team a few years ago. Eritrea is well known for VMS systems from obviously Beaver, the Nebson project, which was ultimately sold to Zijin after several years of very profitable production. And so our Tolagimja system, this is a bit earlier in our portfolio. We've had a limited amount of drilling there, a couple of thousand meters. It's a large footprint, over 3 kilometers of anomalous zinc and copper on surface, a couple of Gossens outcropping, and we've put a couple of thousand meters of drilling into it on a prospecting style drilling program, and we have intersected copper and zinc from within sort of 60 meters from surface. So quite active in the field. It really speaks to the fact that Eritrea is a great destination for exploration. It's been really underexplored as a destination, and I think Alpha's really hit it right with its targeting here.
Mm-hmm. Now you have a number of folks on your team are really experienced. I mean, Quentin, our geologist, has said that this is, Crescat, you need to get invested. Kevin, you need to invest in this company because these are some really experienced geologists and technical folks that are involved here. And it's been flying under the radar because it's very tightly held share structure, and these guys don't get out and do enough promotion. But we're excited about it. But the grades. Talk about some of the grades that you're seeing.
Sure. Well, we have multiple gram intersections over tens of meters at Aberna. We've got 2 zones which are, I would say, the northeast and what we call Hill 52 central areas are the sweet spots at the moment. We do have some evidence of colonial era Italian gold mining from the 1920s. They were targeting higher grade, narrower veins, so that obviously forms part of the target system here. But to your point about the experience within the team, Kevin, we've got 2 of our board have operated as CEOs of companies in Eritrea that have discovered and developed mining operations, Mike Hopley and John Clark. And Alistair Smith, one of the founders of the company, has been working in the region for about 20 years, very experienced guy, and also involved in the discovery and then sale of assets in that region. So, we do have a real depth of technical expertise. We also have a depth of Eritrea expertise. One of our co-founders, Bahani Sakar, is Eritrean by birth. So, we have this sweet spot, I think, of a great team, both technically and sort of business savvy in that specific country. And on top of that, we have a very supportive government. The mining law in Eritrea has not changed in 3 decades. It's a very consistent system, and they are very pro mining, and they have been involved in the development of the assets that other companies have found and delivered on. So, we're really confident that it's a great place to be in the Nubian Shield, and also it's a great springboard into that region. Very stable jurisdiction.
Mm-hmm. Well, great. Well, go check them out. Their company name, again, it's Alpha Exploration. Their ticker symbol in Canada is ALEX, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Is it on the CSE or the Venture?
It's on the Venture, yeah.
On the Venture Exchange.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, Tim.
Thanks very much.
All right. Good luck.
Thanks very much.
Bye.
All right, this is Tavi Costa with Crescat Capital. I'm here at the Precious Metals Summit in Beaver Creek. And here's Michael Bennett from Altamira. How you doing?
Tavi, great to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you too. So let's start with, I think the audience should first hear just an overview about what you're up to with Altamira.
Okay, Tavi. Well, we've got a project called Cachoeiro in central western Brazil. It's a very large project for a junior company. It's 28,000 hectares. 25 kilometers across, and we have had since 2019 a resource in a very small part of that property of 700,000 ounces. But since Crescat has been involved in 2021, we have gone and started doing more regional exploration. We've discovered a brand new arm to our resource. It's called Maria Bonita. We've drilled only 4,500 meters into it since 2022, but we've actually just published a resource of 720,000 ounces. And it's a very, very consistently mineralized rock type. Mm-hmm. It's a porphyry. It's a gold-only porphyry. It's probably the first in Brazil. It might be unique in the world. And we had Dick Silito out there in June of 2024. We've now understood where this thing is dipping. And we drilled our first deep hole, Tavi, about a month ago into this. So the resource was done on holes which went down to about 220, 230 meters. This new hole goes down to 546 meters and is a real eye-opener for us. We've got over 500 meters of quartz porphyry rock in that hole, and we're waiting for the results from the lab right now.
So share price is responding to some of that. I mean, what else? What do you think is a perception change? You're talking about the porphyry and how mineralization might be a little closer to the surface and so forth. Can you explain that, why that's such a positive turn to your company in general?
Well, so most juniors wouldn't really go out and look for porphyries because a young porphyry, you've probably got to drill hundreds of meters before you get to the mineralization. We're dealing with older porphyries. They're 1.7 billion years old. And as a result of that, all this overburden has been eroded away. And so the mineralization is sitting on or near to surface. And as I say, Dick Silito went out there in June 2024. And he said a couple of things to us. Find out where it's dipping. It's dipping to the southeast. So where did we drill on the first deep hole? From the southeast. We will look for the southern extension of that and we'll build the resource up there. We'll look for the depth extension of that and we'll build the resource up there. But not only that, we'll also build up the resource on this new round of drilling in the central area. And since he's been there, we've found 11 porphyry targets within this 15-kilometer wide central part of our mining claim, and we will drill 5 of those over the next 6 months.
Just to have a sense of what's been happening, how much drilling has been done in the property and how much you plan on doing here near, call it a year from now?
Well, it's a very good question, Tavi. Most people have to drill hundreds of thousands of meters to build up a resource. Historically and in total, we've drilled about 25,000 meters over Cajueiro, and we've got a resource right now combined between Maria Bonita and the central area of 1.2 million ounces.
Wow.
So just imagine what we've got. We've got this block of mineralized rock. Of the 4,500 meters in Maria Bonita, hardly any single assays, which was 0. So that's point number 1. And the highest grade in most of the holes was 2.4 grams. So it's very, very, very evenly mineralized piece of rock.
Yep.
And there's only one formation in the porphyry, which is called the feldspar porphyry, which is less than 10% of the volume of the whole thing, which has no gold in it. So we're really happy punters.
Yeah, it's funny being in the business now for some time. It's not easy to see stories like this developing as much as you have with such a small amount of drilling. So how much drilling are you going to do in the future here? Because I feel like the rate of change of how much you're going to learn about your property in the next 1 to 2 years is going to be outstanding. And what you've seen so far, and if you said it's very unique perhaps relative to what we've seen in other parts. Initially, Quentin, our team was really thinking about perhaps some analogies with comparisons with some of the stories we have in Yukon. And now you commented maybe this is even kind of a newer angle to this, how we approach this as well. So talk a little bit about all that, about how much drilling you're going to do here in the near future and the uniqueness of this as well relative to other things we've seen.
Well, first of all, I have to take my hat off to Crescat and especially to Quinton, because without you guys, we wouldn't have moved out of the central area and we wouldn't have discovered that we've got a porphyry district. The uniqueness of the area is that what we've got Maria Bonita sitting on surface and how much we're going to drill. Well, if I just reflect on the target to the east of Maria Bonita, it's called Mombaki. It's a target which is covered by recent unmineralized volcanics, but it has an unbelievable magnetic high anomaly sitting right underneath it. So if you think about Quinton's analogy to the upside down cow, and you've got all these teats, which are the quartz, porphyry, gold-bearing mineralization. At the depth of that, you may well have copper gold. And Mombaki, at 500 meters depth, has a very tantalizing magnetic high, and that's one of the things we're going to drill. So how much will we drill? We've planned on 11,000 meters for the next 6 to 9 months, but if we snag something, obviously that's going to increase very, very rapidly.
Now, one thing that is very important, I think, at least for investing in these earlier stage companies, comes down to capital structure and comes down to investors that are part of the story. You have some very unique strategic investors in your story. Can you comment on that as well? Outside of Crescat, as you know, of course, I think people know why we're interviewing Mike is because it's a portfolio company, but there's more to the story as well in that front. So maybe comment on that.
Well, I mean, obviously, you know, I'm quite unique anyway in terms of where I am as a CEO. I mean, most CEOs live in, you know, in Vancouver or somewhere like that. I live between Bolivia and Brazil. I actually have a house 100 kilometers away from the project, and I spend a lot of my time getting my hands dirty and feeling that adrenaline rush when I find these mineralized rocks. We have yourselves, who are absolutely fantastic shareholders, and you'd help us not only in the economic sense, but also in the strategy sense, which is all important in terms of our exploration. But we also have Aura Minerals, who have 11% of the company, and Aura Minerals have been very proactive over the last few months in helping us to decide which parts of the property we're going to prioritize for the next drill program.
No, I'll close up here, but I do think that one of the things I like about your story is that you've been creating so much value under the radar, and the market now, you know, is becoming, of course, a lot more favorable for all this, from the gold side to the copper side to really any metals. And Brazil is in my view just at the beginning of a lot of major improvements economically and politically. So very excited about your story in general, and it's great to be here with you. And,
Thank you, Tavi.
But yeah, thanks everyone. I will be back with more videos. Thank you.
Okay, this is Kevin Smith. I'm at the Precious Metals Summit in Beaver Creek. I'm here with Kit Mars. He's the CEO of Alaska Silver. This is a company that Crescat has invested in several years ago now, and they have done a lot of very successful drilling. So they're onto a big, what we think is ultimately going to be a very big silver discovery, silver, zinc, and lead system in western Alaska. And but there's a lot more drilling still to go, and they have some of the highest grade silver among all the discovery stories, and are able to, at least historically, been able to convert a lot of those meters of drilling into silvers. But anyway, let's just back up a little bit. Kit, can you tell the general audience just the basics about this story?
Yeah, great, Kevin. It's good to be here again, and again, thank you for you and Tavi and Quentin for being longtime supporters of our story, and you've helped us become a success. So I do want to point out to your listeners that we were Western Alaska Minerals up until I think April of this year, with our new focus on silver, not our new, but strengthened focus on silver, combined with the emergence of Alaska once again as a really good mining jurisdiction, and that's really been promoted by the new administration in Washington D.C.
Yeah.
And tied to efforts at Prudhoe Bay, the Alaska natural gas pipeline, and several big projects like Donlin that I think is coming along. So hence the name Alaska Silver, and it does start with an A instead of a W, so it's nice to be at the top of the program, not the bottom. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's our story really is two things. One, our flagship Water Pump Creek deposit is a carbonate replacement deposit. Dr. Peter McGaw, good friend and longtime advisor to the company, is really the world's expert in CRDs. Well-known founder of Mag Silver, which had a very successful closing sale to Pan American last week. So Peter has been very much involved and will continue to be so. So we have two deposits. That makes us unique. Going public, we had a 370,000 ounce indicated and a little over almost 200,000 inferred ounces of gold equivalent at Illinois Creek. That is a 2019 resource. Gold and silver have gone up a little bit since then. So we'll take a look at that in the second half of this year.
Yeah.
But our focus since 2021 has been on Water Pump Creek, and that's because of the grade. In the past, I've brought in my little drill core, but it's if you look at our corporate presentation, our grade of our resource is 980 grams per ton silver equivalent, and that's really the best in that.
Why don't you bring some of that core over here? So this stuff is heavy.
It is. So if Quentin was here, I could give it to him and he could show you how he falls out of the chair when he picks this up. So, well, this is it right here. And so this particular sample is a hole 17, and this is, I'll read the numbers, 914 grams silver, not silver equivalent, which is right about 30 ounces per ton, 24.4% zinc, and 31.5% lead. So not a whole lot in here besides metal. This is really what high grade's all about. Ultimately, this will make for a very high margin underground mine. Underground means low capex and also a low environmental footprint. And all of those, I think, are good things to have today. Margin on this, hopefully we'll start thinking about some internal scoping studies on economics this year and decide if it's time to do a PA or not. We haven't made that decision. But this is a great deposit. Next year, we want to continue drilling to expand the resource. We have a number of prospects that are on the site that we've known about that hope to expand our drilling program. Until later in the year, can't really give you a proposed footage. I'd love to get 8,000 meters, but all that is going to be dependence on markets and everything else. Permitting is all in hand. So our permits are 5-year permits with the state of Alaska, so we can easily double or triple our drill footage without any permitting hindrance, which is very different than operating in the lower 48 on BLM or Forest Service land.
Yeah, and this one is in the U.S., and you've got critical minerals and it is part of your arsenal here, right?
Actually, should mention that the dark gray, dark brown mineral is fowlerite. That's a zinc mineral. Ultimately, this deposit would produce a zinc concentrate. We've done assays on the zinc concentrate and shown that the gallium concentrates at the same ratio as the zinc. So the gallium is within the zinc mineral. We'll follow it along. We'll follow it to the smelter. And hopefully the U.S. will figure out a processing to remove gallium from zinc. That's still a little bit of a metallurgical processing issue right now. It's sort of an example of how the U.S. Supply chain is broken pretty severely in several areas. So that will be fixed. And so ultimately this could be a very good domestic source of gallium, which is #1 on the critical mineral list.
Nice, nice. So this is Alaska Silver, ticker symbol WAM from the Western Alaska days, but
we like that
it's a nice
symbol.
It's a nice symbol, and it's on the Venture Exchange, and they also have a OTC symbol in the U.S., right?
Yeah, that's WAMFF, and that's been in place here for a couple of years.
Yeah. So I think you guys are going to see a lot more to come from this company. I think they're going to be doing a lot more drilling. And what we really love is that the super high grade and the ability to convert resource out of drilling. So there's a lot of other names out there that will have to drill, tens of thousands of meters to produce silver. These guys can do it for a lot less meterage, and it's because of the super high grade. And so go check out Alaska Silver. Thank you, Kit.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Good.
This is Tavi Costa from Crescat Capital. I'm here at the Precious Metals Summit in Beaver Creek, and we're here with Dustin from Kingfisher, and it's another company in our portfolio. Very exciting. Dustin, I want to start on something that I think a few stories that we have actually were able to pivot so much and be very successful in that pivot. So I want you to touch on that first so you can kind of give an overview of what you guys are up to, and then I'll dive into other questions.
Yeah, so we founded the company. I founded it back in 2019. We went public in 2021 on a project called Gold Range, 511 square kilometer gold project in southwest BC. I would say we made a pretty good success there, but at the time the market expected more. First pass drill program on a big project. We drilled, we broke the 100 gram meter threshold, drilled up to a meter, 73 grams, 40 meters at 2.9. That'd probably do well today, but market wasn't liking it, and we had done enough work to have those claims in good standing with no holding cost till 2032. So that's actually sitting up on the shelf for us, and that's some hidden optionality. But we decided to pivot into the Golden Triangle because that's where our team's expertise was, porphyry, copper, gold. and we saw an opportunity in one of the most prolific mining districts on earth in, a great country like Canada. Power, access, ports, support of Indigenous groups, and we've done 5 deals to put together the largest contiguous project, sitting at 850 square kilometers now. So, we've got multiple porphyry systems, high-grade gold. There's intercepts up to 27 meters and 9 grams. We just put out an intercept yesterday of 235 meters, I believe, of 1% copper equivalent within 565, I think, of 0.65 copper equivalent. So.
Well, what is interesting about your story, though, is that there was historical drilling there, and it was fascinating how good those results were, and then no one was really chasing that. It's kind of remarkable that this was even available. It's just...
Yeah, well, one thing is porphyry exploration is pretty challenging for juniors. You need to have access to a lot of capital. And, we've got to be around 50% institutional. We've got amongst probably about 6 or 7 other funds. We've got a good friend of mine, Alex Gubbins, backing us. Altamira, who was a Glencore founder and sold GT Gold, which is the last porphyry story in the Golden Triangle. He's a large shareholder and chairing our advisory board. We've also got Charlie Gregg, who won the Prospect of the Year award with Ashwath when they sold GT Gold. So, we've kind of got that team back together on a much larger project in a much better environment.
So you assemble a outstanding technical team and yourself. You can talk about that too. You've got backing that most companies at this stage don't have. That is, also very important. And you've got these assets that are, there's so much optionality there as well. So now you're seeing some interesting things. You just put out as you said, a report. So let's expand on what you're seeing and what you think how you're gonna follow up on those things. Just want to hear your plans now.
Yeah, so, the Golden Triangle is a prolific region. It's something special happening there. It's not hard to go find a rock with good mineralization. Harder to find a deposit. But big deposits are there. KSM, world's largest undeveloped gold deposit. Our chief geo did her master's degree there. Galore Creek's, I think, the 2nd biggest deposit in Canada. You've got Red Chris, which has had one of the best porphyry intercepts ever, a kilometer of 1.25 grams and 1% copper. So you got all these huge deposits there, but pretty much all of them are sticking out of the ground. You're not going to find a deposit generally sticking out of the ground. You got to look somewhere different. And Charlie and GT found the first really covered porphyry there. They found it under glacial till. And that's what we're bringing to this story. We're trying to look at things different. You might have to drill deeper, or you might have to look under some type of cover. And we're not going to get the technicality of that, but we have the skill set to unlock that. And for lack of better words, the balls to go and actually test these targets. And we've got the people that trust us and are going to provide the capital to do it, which is key. So it's still risky, but we're de-risking it through an incredible technical team, and also by having a lot of targets. And I said this to somebody, and I brought it up again today. Like, the way you need to approach exploration is you've got a dartboard, and you need a lot of darts to hit the middle, to hit bullseye. But you can also add a lot of bullseyes on your dartboard. And with 850 square kilometers in such a prolific district, with all this historic work, but also the other work we're doing, like big regional programs this year, we've got that pipeline, and I would say we're off to a pretty good start.
So what should we expect as investors in terms of amount of drilling? How do you envision your next year in terms of amount of drilling and overall targeting that you're going to be doing here?
So we just wrapped up and put out a hole yesterday, I guess, and we'll be putting out news through, into probably the new year. Did 7,600 meters. A lot of other regional targeting news. We got to interpret everything and put it all together. Ideally, we're in a good market now, and we've set ourselves up with building this incredible team and getting all the ground and doing a lot of this regional work this year. Ideally, we're able to do double. I can't commit now to what we're going to do, but I would like to step up each year and really give this a good test.
There's plenty of work to be done.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, I won't hold you up a lot more, but this was very good. I like your story as well. Just not a lot of young guys chasing these crazy dreams and goals that you have, and I think you're onto something very special. So, Thanks, best
Debbie.
of luck on what you're doing. And anyways, this is Tavi Costa from Crescat Capital. We'll have more videos here following up. Thank you.
This is Kevin Smith. I'm here at the Precious Metals Summit in Beaver Creek, and I'm here with Rory Quinn, of Yukon Metals. And so we got invested in this a little over a year ago, right? And
Yep.
you guys have had, this is your second season now of field work, or
Yep.
really your first big drill season,
That's right.
And they have three targets in the Yukon that they have been exploring, and that they're drilling this year, and we even got some core to look at. So Rory, why don't you just tell us a little bit about the project and about some of this core?
Well, I don't know if you can pick this up, but this is galena. So is this rock here. So this is the silver-bearing rock at Star River, and this here runs about 1,800 grams per ton silver, and so this is your silver-bearing rock into your gold-bearing rock. So we're getting a twofer in our drilling, right? And so this is the quartzite, and you'll see arsenopyrite speckled throughout here, and that's your gold. And as a reminder to your viewers and your investors, we had almost 11,000 grams per ton silver at surface, and 101 grams per ton gold at surface. And silver and gold just outcrops.
We're finding a lot more of this stuff.
We're finding a lot more of this. We'll do nine holes. I feel pretty strongly we're going to come out of this with a discovery at Star River, and so that's been very exciting. We just did a high net worth tour. And each one of our guests ended up being able to hack this sort of stuff out of the ground, steps from the helicopter, and so everyone left quite happy.
Okay.
Yeah, and then this is from Birch, and so we're well into drilling there. 4 holes out of a planned 6. Each 4 holes have been in skarn. So we're feeling really good about our model. I mean, 4 holes across 750 meters in skarn every time, multiple layers of skarn on the way down. So we're getting into skarn as shallow as 25 meters. And then, so we've had a continuous mineralization of 20 meters, 30 meters, and our largest is 46 meters, roughly between 250 meters and 296. So, and this is what the core there looks like. I'm not sure if your camera can pick it up. This is chalcopyrite, and this will run. I'm guessing we had the pleasure of sitting with Quentin yesterday, and so I mean, Quentin knows his way around core pretty well. He posited that this would run about 1.5% to 2% copper, and there'll be some gold in this too, and that's what we expect.
Nice. And you're seeing a lot of that, right? Over, what'd you say?
46 meters, continuous mineralization.
In that one hole.
And that's just one. That's one scar. So we think
What's the strike on this?
750 meters, right? So I mean, look, more to do with continuity, and we'll switch this year from doing our discovery drilling. So I think we're going to have a discovery at Star. I think we'll have a discovery at Birch, and then we'll pivot from this year doing this discovery drilling to next year doing a resource drilling. So we'll look to drill off across probably a kilometer, because we feel so good about this model.
So 2 discoveries with this drill season, probably.
Yeah. Two or more.
2 or more. You have a third target too, called the AZ.
AZ.
What's going on there?
So AZ sits 6 kilometers away from the Alaska Highway. We have 3.5% copper right at surface again. I mean, it's the Yukon. It's just wildly prospective. Cherem Mountain, which is where we have this 3.5% copper, sits on a 1.2 kilometer Gossan zone where there's just grade everywhere. Really, the rub at AZ is it's such a large property. There's 13,000 hectares. It takes over 10 minutes to cross it in a helicopter. Is there's just so much copper at surface. The difficulty is vectoring into the source of all that copper. So I mean, Ron Birdall was finding 26% copper. He's found 11% copper. We've been into 3.5% copper at surface, 5 gram per ton gold. It's the key is finding the source.
So as a little bit more background, the Birdall family, who is the family behind Snowline, one of Crescat's most successful stories here over the last several years, they also, Ron Birdall, the patriarch, staked a lot of this ground up in the Yukon, and the gold assets went mostly into Snowline, but all the other assets, which actually include a lot of gold targets too, went into this Yukon Metals, and the Birdall family, I think, are the largest shareholders.
That's right.
We're excited to be co-shareholders, along with a fantastic roster of some other pretty well-known shareholders as well. They have a lot of assays still to come, a lot of cores in the lab right now, and so there should be a lot of news coming out over the next several weeks and months. This is one to keep your eye on. I think there's a lot of potential for further upside here personally. And Rory, anything else you want to leave with us?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to have plenty of news out now between now and the holidays. So really, please keep your eyes out for a constant flow of news from Star River, Birch, and AZ. Yeah, like I said, we'll be pivoting from this season, looking for multiple discoveries. That was the purpose of this season, and pivoting into next season, where we're going to go look at Class 3 permits, big drill programs, and build resources. So it's very exciting. We've had a great run this year, and looking for it to continue well into the new year.
All right, Yukon Metals, check it out.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rory.
Thank you.
Okay, this is Kevin Smith with Crescat Capital, and I'm here at the Beaver Creek Precious Metals Summit. I'm here with Tony Retta with Tectonic Metals. Tony's the CEO and founder of the company. And Tony, why don't you just give people just the general flavor for the story and what's going on at Flat?
For sure. I would start off by saying this has been a very transformative year. Thanks to Crescat. This gentleman has invested over $6.5 million in the last 3 months. And why is that the case? Well, we've been grooming this project, and the moment has come where we finally get to drill test it systematically with a large 3-drill campaign. We're located in Alaska near the 5th largest undeveloped gold deposit. We have indigenous support, and this property is 99,000 acres in size and has the potential to host 6 deposits. So this is the first time, I think, in the project's history where it's seen systematic drilling and testing of multiple potential deposits. So that's a bit about Tectonic. I would also mention that in addition to the capital invested by Crescat, we've also been able to attract very large respected funds, Van Eck, Franklin Templeton, and the last 3 months here, we've raised $34 million, a very drastic change to where we were at last year. And all of that capital, or bulk of it, is going into the ground to finally expose this project for what we believe it to be.
Mm-hmm. So you guys had your big discovery hole last season, right?
Yes, yep.
And there was a lot of drilling, historic drilling, that also, even drilling that you had done, that had every hole had hit gold,
yes.
Right, in your Chicken Mountain,
yeah.
at least.
Yes.
And so we knew there was something good there. You know, trying to hone in on that higher grade, the higher grade parts of the system,
yes.
Was the key. And when you hit that higher grade at Alpha Bowl last season, that's when we said, okay, we're going to make sure that they're fully funded to start drilling early this
yes.
year, and go follow up at Alpha Bowl. So tell the world now about the hole that the news release that you just put out,
yeah.
with the hole at Alpha Bowl.
Yeah, well, I think one of the things, there's a lot of markers for our potential huge gold system. One of the markers that we have on our property is this placer gold endowment. So these are streams and creeks that are shedding from these potential deposits that are carrying gold. And ever since I acquired this project, there's the one stream. It's produced 650,000 ounces of placer gold. It's hosted at Alpha Bowl. And guess what? In the 50, 60-year history of this project, no one's ever drill tested it. Would the highest placer-producing creek translate to possibly the highest grade portion of this property? Well, we went last year and we drilled a hole. It was 65 meters in length, came back with 1.2 grams per ton over the entire interval. There was 6 meters of 6 grams, 1.5 meters of 21 grams. Well, we were now chomping at the bit to get into it this year. Again, thankfully for Crescat, they encouraged us to focus on it, gave us the capital we needed. And the first hole was announced earlier this week, and it came back with 4 grams per ton over 20 meters in a broader interval of 2.2 grams over 41 meters. Also within that, there was 13.5 grams per ton over nearly 5 meters. So we got 2 holes, both holes with ounce per ton material in it, both still open in every which direction. Stay tuned, because we have 24 holes specifically drilled at Alpha Bowl. Some of the deepest holes were 390 meters in length, and all of those samples are at the lab, and we're waiting to receive them here, and they will be announced as they come in.
That's awesome. There's something equally as exciting as Alpha Bowl, I think, and that's what at one point you guys were calling no man's land, which is the kind of the area between Alpha Bowl and where you had drilled before at Chicken Mountain.
Yes,
so maybe it's the connection area between the two.
Yeah.
Tell us about what you're seeing there.
Yeah, so so there's let's call it Chicken Mountain proper. There's 3 kilometers of drilled strike, and there's been 3 kilometers is a huge, massive length. So there's some drilling here, and then we called it no man's land because there's some really good drill intercepts here at Chicken Mountain. There's Alpha Bowl with this drill hole. There's another drill hole over here, but there's a section in between where they just didn't drill test. There also seems to be some cross-cutting structures. So it's a structural intersection. And we went in there as part of the phase 1. We displayed the core in our virtual drill core shack, which you can view online. But essentially, we're seeing intense alteration, an abundance of veining, different cross-cutting veins, indicating multiple episodes of potential mineralization. It just looks like a very spectacular hole from a veining perspective. Our fingers crossed. We do believe that it has high potential to yield gold mineralization. And based on what we're seeing, we decided to do another 4 holes in around it. So that's the no man's land. It is an extension of Chicken Mountain, kind of north or south of Alpha Bowl. The first 4 holes there have been sent to the laboratory, and again, no assays pending. That was more of an end of phase 1 drill target. So that was drilled in August, if I'm not mistaken. And then we had to send the samples to the lab and hopefully get those results in the next month or so.
So you've only put out the first hole.
1 hole,
so
that's
far.
it, yeah.
How many holes are in the lab?
Yeah, so there's 47 holes still at the lab that we're waiting for. And now we've launched phase 2, which soon we'll be announcing, usually discussing the details of the phase 2 drill program, but we are expecting at least another 40 holes from that program. So that's a total of 80, call it 90 holes that are going to be released between now and the end of the year, and probably some into the new year as well. So a lot of news flow, a lot of potential for discovery in new areas that haven't seen a drill bit before.
Mm-hmm. One of the reasons that I got so excited about this story and made it one of our largest investments is that Quentin, our geologist, really emphasized that this is a big property package and a big target. Mm-hmm. Overall, like, how big is Flat?
It's 99,000 acres, like 20 kilometers by 40 kilometers. It would be classified as an entire camp, if you will, or district. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there are, like I said, potential for 6 deposits on this property. And each target is like the size of Chicken Mountain, for example, is 6.5 kilometers by 6 kilometers in size. That is insanely large, and it's definitely, we're fortunate to have something of that size and magnitude.
Mm-hmm. 6 kilometers by 6
That was just Chicken Mountain.
That's just Chicken
The property's
Mountain,
40 kilometers by
that's
20 kilometers, yeah.
That's enormous.
It is, it's huge.
And there's one big geophysical target, right?
Yeah,
over the whole thing.
Yeah, the geophysical anomalies have been validated through drilling. So, and also placer gold's coming on, so we believe that they are a true representation of these potential deposits.
Quentin says the whole thing is connected.
It is. I would agree. They were connected at one point in time. Then tectonic activity, pardon the word tectonic, but plate activity stretched these things apart. There's now roofed and unroofed. If you follow the reduced intrusion-related gold model, where some have been completely exposed or not exposed at varying heights. So there's definitely, the entire system, and it's big. I don't know how else to say it.
Right. There's a lot of analogs out there. Fort Knox is an analog.
Yes.
The reduced intrusion systems up in the Yukon.
Yes.
Snowline, for instance. By the way, I think some of that core at No Man's Land looked a lot like Snowline core.
Visually it does.
Geologist.
Yes.
So we have had a lot of success with these reduced intrusion style gold systems, and Quentin is like, yeah, let's go find more of these. We were early investors in Snowline. Rackla's a new discovery, soon to be discovery, hopefully, a company that we're invested in up near Snowline. But these types of systems can be very big tier 1 profitable gold mines, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yes. A tier 1 deposit as classified by some of the majors, is 500,000 ounces of annual gold production over a 10-year mine life, and you happen to be in the lower cost quartile. So that's your all-in sustaining cost. So it's a very, well, it's a difficult feat to achieve, but we are seeing the hallmarks of something here at Flat that ticks that boxes, hence why we call it a tier 1 mining opportunity.
And you've already done a lot of the metallurgy.
Yeah, the metallurgy supports something that is definitely free milling and heap leachable. Heap leach mines are highly coveted by major mining companies because they typically are low capex, low all-in sustaining costs, low energy requirements, and lower environmental impact. We also know that because the last company we had was an open pit heap leach that we sold for $520 million, and we had 3 majors bidding on it. So stay tuned.
That's the Coffee Gold Project.
That's the Coffee Gold Project,
Yeah.
yes. Okay.
So there's one more target that you guys drilled this year
Yes.
that I want you to talk about.
Yes.
At least one hole you put into
Yeah.
the Golden Apex zone.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
tell us about that.
Yeah, so we talked about Chicken Mountain being the large intrusion target as far as like physical anomaly size. The next one over is called Golden Apex. Golden Apex is 2.5 kilometers by 2 kilometers in size. It also has placer gold draining from it. There was a 2003 drill hole that was drilled. We have the core, we've seen it, we know what it looks like, what it runs. But essentially that 2003 hole had 1 gram per ton over 15 meters, 6 grams over 9 if I'm not mistaken, and another like 1 gram over 24. It was like a 200-meter long hole. It's very interesting. And so we stepped out about 100 meters on that hole this year, and what we've intersected, it appears to be volcanic, so intrusive rocks. And there is I was going to say, a boatload of veining. We're seeing intense veining, and not just intense veining, but also multiple generations of veining as well. And again, those are typically good markers for mineralization. That hole has been sent to the lab. We also drilled 2 more holes at Golden Apex, and we want those assays back soon because we want to follow it up this year. And again, this would represent another new potential deposit. It has those kind of hallmarks for it. And again, the geophysics and the soil anomalies have never lied once. So we remain optimistic that we'll encounter some gold mineralization there.
Now you've got a really strong technical team and management team that you've
Yes.
assembled, and
Yes.
I think Rich Goldfarb has joined the advisory board, right?
Yes.
What did he have to say about what you guys are seeing?
Yeah, well, we are blessed to have that. I'm actually very blessed to have such a strong technical team. And for those that don't know, I mean, Dr. Richard Goldfarb, you can Google him or look on our website. You know, he's published over 250 papers. He's considered one of the leading authorities on gold systems and gold deposits. Ironically, when I first reached out to him, because I was a fan, turns out he worked on our property 30 years ago. He was at Donlin. Again, that's a 40 million ounce gold system. They were sniffing around the entire belt. He landed on our property. We've had a meeting. So as far as what does he think? He likes what he's seen. He agrees with the multi-generational veining, that there could be multiple pulses of mineralization. And due to his travel, we actually haven't sat down for a lengthy time to go through it. But he did attend our virtual drill core shack, and he remains very optimistic that we're onto something significant. I don't think he would be here if that wasn't the case.
You want to say a little bit about the Phase 2 program that's starting up now?
Sure. So the Phase 2 program, again, it's a 3-drill program. It has been launched. Just to recap, Phase 1 is completed. That's 48 drill holes, 7,800 meters. All the pictures of the drill core, so highlight pictures, are available. We hit VG also in the Phase 1 drill campaign. That's visible gold for those that don't know what that is. Phase 2 was launched, and it is targeting going after our initial maiden inferred resource at Chicken Mountain. There's 86 drill holes at Chicken Mountain. Every hole hits hit gold. 3 kilometers of drill strike. There's gaps in the drilling, such as this no man's land, that we're targeting with this Phase 2. We are also being tempted by brand new drill results like the one we just had. That we announced earlier this week. That was 2.2 grams over 40 with 4 grams over 20, 14 grams over 5. So we're going to take one of those drills, move it back to this drill hole, and do a step out. And we're going to keep being fluid with the drills as these results come in. We want to maximize any sort of really good drill intercept to fully understand and flush it out and get it out to the market.
Great. Great. So this is Tony Retta with Tectonic Metals. They have a website. They put out some news releases recently. I encourage you to go check them out. They have a virtual core shack video presentation and a whole slideshow that goes with that is really phenomenal. It's highly technical, I warn you, but but worth the watch. So again, Tectonic Metals. What's your ticker symbol?
TECT on the TSX Venture.
On the Venture. All right, Tony. Thanks.
Thank you again for the support. Thank you, Crescat. Thank you for listening.
All right, this is Tavi Kosa from Crescat Capital. We're here at the Precious Metals Summit in Beaver Creek. I'm here with David from Kuya Silver. How you doing, David?
Hi, Tavi. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too. Look, let's get started with, I mean, this is a story that is different than the ones we have. I guess, well, different in the sense of not a lot of stories we have in our portfolio. Outside of a few are a producing story, but also with embedded exploration potential. So let's start with maybe an overview of Kuya, and then I'll dive into a few questions if you don't mind.
Sure. So Kuya, we have our flagship asset is the Bethania silver mine in Peru that we just started up less than a year ago, and we're ramping up production now. So it's a real special silver mine. We think we've got 75 to 80% of our revenue coming from silver, which is really, really rare, and lots of exploration upside, as you alluded to. So we want to make this, we're ramping it up over the next year to get to our kind of, phase one, producing a little over 1 million ounces a year. And then we have plans over the next, 3 to 5 years to make it a lot bigger.
Let's dive in a little bit. So the ramp up that you're doing, how much you think it's going to cost, and what exactly are you trying to accomplish with that, and what should we expect with the increase of production on this?
Yeah, so right now we're actually very close to break even at the mine right now. So the other than one special project that we're doing, which I'll come back to, we're basically already there.
Mm-hmm.
Now we decided to recently expand a ramp.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be a shallow ramp that's going to allow us to drive bigger vehicles in and out of the mine. That's going to help us to get to 350 faster, and it's also going to allow us to actually go even bigger just from the Bethania mine itself, where there does seem to be a lot of potential. So, I mean, we could see it producing 500, maybe 750 tons per day just from that our original Bethania mine in the future, and this ramp's going to help us to get there. So we don't have to go in, let's say 3, 4, 5 years from now and redo the whole infrastructure. That's what we're doing right now. It's not expected to cost a lot. I think it's like 1.5 million is our estimate for that. And as I said, other than that, we should be there. Now it's just a matter of hiring people. So we're incrementally every month adding a few more miners, just getting the working faces, getting all the ventilation hooked up, and that's how we get to 350 tons per day in the next 9 to 12 months.
Not to get too hung up on this producing side of your story, I want to get into the exploration as well, because I think it's important.
Mm-hmm.
But what should we expect at these after the ramp up in terms of margins, you think? I mean, I know there's a lot of moving pieces when it comes to that, but what is in your mind what you can get to in terms of margins as we see silver prices doing what they have been doing recently? I mean, it sounds exciting. So what should we expect?
So, I think starting with our PEA, which was the last economic study we did a few years ago, our AISC life of mine was going to be about $12 an ounce, and then we say we would add at least $3-4 an ounce for the toll milling, because we're toll milling right now, using other mills, essentially renting other mills to process our ore.
Mm-hmm.
There might have been a little bit of inflation in the last few years, but silver price is much higher.
Yeah.
So I think we think we can capture at least $20 margin on that. Make $20 million a year. At a million ounces.
When was your PEA again?
That was in 2022, so 3 years ago.
Yeah, no, I think the prices of metals have gone up more than the inflation you're referring to, but what do I know?
You're right.
All right, let's talk about something else now that I think is important, and it's going to be part of your exploration story too, the 100-100 plan that you came up with. Explain to the audience what that means and where you're going with that.
So the 100-100 plan is really a long-term vision for the Bethania project, and it's 100 million ounces of silver resources, Right now, our inferred plus indicated is 14 million, so we've got a ways to go, but we know where the veins are. We just need to drill. And now we're able to do that, which is really exciting. So that's part of it. That's 100, and then the other 100 is the cash flow. So we think after we expand the mill, we build a mill and expand it, we can get to 100 million a year in free cash flow from the mine. So where that would come from, that would be about 5 million ounces a year of silver at $20 margin.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm not gonna. This is not a question to put you in the spot, because I do think that this is a point that usually when we're dealing with early stage companies, or not, your case is not as early stage, but there's not a lot of ownership from management. How much you own of the stock today, more or less?
I think I personally am around between 8 and 9%.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been diluted a little bit, but yeah.
No, that's a high
very,
number.
Very high.
Yeah, it's a high number.
Yeah.
Talk about your strategic partners. Who are part of your cap structure right now that you want to highlight? Outside of Crescat, I think everybody knows, but
Crescat's a big one. You know, we actually are, you know, outside of Crescat, I think we're pretty under-owned by the traditional mining funds. And I actually think that's a good thing, because they're going to be incremental buyers of our stock as we deliver into the plan over the next year or so. We're also we're not owned by any of the silver ETFs yet. And so that's a big, that can be a big factor as you get into the, you know, 100, 500 million market cap.
Yep.
Some of our peers have 5 to 7% of their whole share structure is just owned by the ETFs, and we have 0. So those are all incremental buyers that will be coming into the stock in the next, you know, year or two, and so get in early.
let's touch on that very quickly. This is my final point. Peers.
Yeah.
How should we view Kuya Silver, especially as you get into, you know, a producing stage of becoming more profitable and so forth? What are the multiples of some of the peers that you have out there, and how can we, you know, those funds out there are thinking about how to value this, you know, how do you suggest them to value this?
Well, you know, I'm a former equities analyst myself, and, you know, I certainly find putting a peer group apples to apples, one of the best ways to do it is using the EV/EBITDA multiples, so which is roughly a cash flow multiple, right? It's very similar, but it's a little bit, you know, easier to calculate. So if you look at the other silver juniors right now, there's not very many of them. There's less than 10 guys who produce more than 40% of the revenue from silver in the world. The ones that are profitable, they're trading at between a 10 and 35 times EBITDA multiple right now. So what that means is if Kuya made 20 million a year and we got the low end of that range, we'd be 200 million market cap USD. So that's where we think we're headed soon. And how you get the bigger multiple is actually by capturing investors' imagination with the exploration upside, right? So the 10 times guy is going to be maybe your boring guy who's not got a lot of exploration upside, whereas your 25, 35, 40 times multiple is a company that's got a lot of exploration, a lot of growth, and I think that's more what Kuya has.
Under-owned, low multiple relative to EBITDA in the future. Obviously, we're talking about estimates that where we're going to potentially get to production, exploration upside, a producing story that can deploy capital, self-fund its own exploration, and you know, again, potentially. And so I think this is a very exciting story, especially in the hot silver market personally. So, all right, we're going to finish here. We're going to have more videos in the future here. But thanks again, David. Appreciate you. Yeah.
This is Kevin Smith with Crescat Capital. I'm here at the Precious Metals Summit in Beaver Creek, and I'm here with Mark Morabito, the chairman and CEO of Intrepid Metals. This is a story that Crescat has been invested in for a couple of years now, and it's because they have two very exciting projects in Arizona, which is a phenomenal mining jurisdiction, both a copper target called Corral, and you guys have a discovery there already.
Absolutely.
And another exciting target, a silver target called Tombstone. Just tell the audience in general a little bit about Intrepid Metals.
So Intrepid, the idea for Intrepid actually in a property portfolio came to me while I was in another company in the area. I was chairman of a company where we got a mine permitted in 2.5 years, start to finish, which is really record time. And it's partly because of our location, which is Cochise County, down in south of Tucson. It's a very, very friendly jurisdiction for mining. You don't have a large population. The population that is there is very much in favor of it. You've got the interstate, you've got secondary roads, you've got high voltage power lines, you got an aquifer where you're not competing with commercial agriculture, you got dual rail lines for the West Coast, and you've got a consistent permitting record. So if you're a major company looking for a project and you want that permitting risk, which is huge, gone, it's already gone. And there was an opportunity, there was a patchwork of properties that had been worked on over the years, and the majors knew about it, everybody knew about it, but nobody would touch it because there were all these feuding landowners. And somebody needed to come in and convince them all to end their feud and put them all under one roof.
And that was you.
That was me. I saw that as the opportunity, and I thought I knew the man to help me with it, and I was right. His name was Ken Brophy, and he's our president and chief operating officer. And together, we worked to consolidate that land package so that once we started drilling it and proving, in fact, there was something there, that any major would look at it and go, well, this is a nice big land package that you can actually have a mine footprint on. And since we started drilling it, it's been consistently fantastic results, 150 meters of 1.5% copper, and on it goes. Big fat intercepts, good grades, some good gold and silver credits in there as well. And there's CRDs, but there's the evidence is screaming porphyry. So and really looking a lot like the Copper Queen, which ran for 60 years, which is very close by, in a town called Bisbee, which is now more of a hippie town, but it was a mining town for 60 years. Right. And so I think we're trying to completing our second drill program now, and that'll end up in October. And I think the dinner setting is there for a major to come in and partner with us. And in fact, two of them have gone on the public record expressing an obvious interest. On one side of us is Rio Tinto that's staked all around us after we put out the first drill results. And then on the other side is Ivanhoe. And that's what people can see. What they can't see are the others that have approached us, gone into our data room, made the site visits, done the work, examined the drill core, and even gone as far as to pick targets and start kicking around ideas with us about what a joint venture would look like. And I founded the company 4 or 5 years ago. I haven't been in the CEO chair for a long time, but I stepped in very recently to make sure that partnership
You're
occurs.
A deal guy.
Yeah, I'm a deal guy.
Trade and background,
I'm a corporate
lawyer.
finance lawyer by training and raising money and putting together deals of what I've done. Had a couple of New York Stock Exchange listings in my career that were in companies where I brought them up from the venture board, raised over $1 billion. This is going to be a lot easier getting this first partnership inked than it was dealing with the Chinese when I did a $400 million deal with them. I want to come in and I want to finish this. I want to see Corral get the joint venture partner. And then the rest of the money that comes in from warrants, which I expect will occur very quickly after a partner's up on the board, will be allocated to our Tombstone project, which is a big swing for a Taylor Deeps analog, the project that South 32 purchased from Augusta, and that is a big swing for the fence, and that's where we would concentrate our team going forward, while the joint venture partner, their money would be ring-fenced and their technical team would be running Corral.
It sounds like a great plan, and I know that's why Quentin, our geologist, originally wanted us to get invested is for both of these targets, but ultimately it's really this Tombstone deep silver target that he's really excited about.
I mean, all the technical people on our team as well
Yeah.
have wanted to drill that sooner rather than later. I'll just be honest, Corral has been a bandwidth hog, and so we know we're at that point where we don't raise any more money for drilling Corral. We've got enough, it's time for us to choose one of these partners and to get it done so that we can move over to Tombstone and start drilling that.
Yeah, well, it makes sense because the big majors are looking for those big copper porphyries. That's what you've got underneath.
Right.
You've already shown, the evidence at surface.
Right.
And but it takes a lot of money to drill those.
Yeah, I'm not going after porphyries, and the initial evidence, yes, but no, I'm not going to go fund that from junior market rates. That belongs to a big group with a deep bench, and the parties that we're dealing with have that.
Absolutely, and but going after that silver CRD style system is something that probably is more up your alley.
Yeah, sure. Well, I mean, it is, and it's only going to be 7 or 8, and maybe not even that many deep holes. We'll have to bring in the best of the best in drilling, but we already have the permits. Literally, once we get this corral situation done, and again, I expect the warrants that we have to be taken down fully once that's been printed. We'll have the money to do it, and that's all we need. We don't need anything else.
Sounds great. And anything else you want to tell the audience about the company?
In the histories of all the companies been involved with, there's been an inflection point where everything changes.
Yeah.
And we've done enough work now that where that inflection point is in the front windshield. We'll be completely re-rated once that partnership occurs. We've got competition for it, and that's good. That's a good thing. And I think us continuing to put out those good drill results is going to only put more and more pressure on someone to jump in, because the copper market is heating up, and these major companies need to find these opportunities in jurisdictions and environments where they know, hey, if it's here, we can get a permit, and we can get it fast. And that's what we've got there.
Yeah, well, that's great. Intrepid Metals, it's on the Venture Exchange, INTR,
That's
right?
correct, yeah.
And you've got an OTC symbol too?
Yes.
In the U.S.?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I should know it off the top of my head, and I don't.
You can find it. Just look up Intrepid Metals. Mark Morabito, great to see you. All right, thanks.